Hello, my name is Nanaya Idakwa. I'm making a presentation on fostering a culture of creativity and innovation with the Department of Public Health, Carolina University, and the course is Change Theory and Practice. Now we go to the introduction. In a time of exponential technological advances and global health transformation, creativity and innovation are now the hallmark of organizational success. In healthcare, where the stakes are people's lives, innovation is required to drive more than efficiencies. We need it to deliver higher quality outcomes for patients, better engagement of staff, and a positive experience for those receiving care. However, despite global recognition of its value, innovation in healthcare often meets resistance. The flexibility to innovate is eroded by bureaucratic resistance, cultural lethargy, and systemic constraints. The problem then is not that there are no inspiring new ideas, it's that our organizational ecosystems are killing them. Current research and applied frameworks are consulted to discuss the barriers and enablers of creativity and innovation within health organizations. Three broad themes are utilized to structure and highlight the importance of internal organizational considerations, that's ensuring innovation, external environmental barriers to creativity, subverting innovation, and leadership strategies in the culture change process. A synthesis is made of worldwide evidence and examples for the proposition that change in healthcare requires not just a climate for innovation, but real, sustained innovation will only occur when an organization brings together flexibility in structure, supportive culture of leadership, and psychologically safe environments across adaptive work systems, responding to internal and external demands. Now let's look at internal organizational factors influencing innovation. The foundation of innovation capacity is related to organizational culture, structure, and resource availability. However, in most healthcare settings, these internal interactions act as obstacles instead of enablers. Indeed, Emable and Carr in 2008 argued that a culture with undue emphasis on efficiency and control discourages experimentation. Surely the fuel of creative ferment. In centralized institutions such as hospitals, nursing staff who make ethical decisions are far removed from the making of operationalized ideas. This challenge is compounded by the fear of failure, a theme that regularly surfaces in innovation studies. As Edmondson elucidates, when employees expect that mistakes will be met with blame or punishment, they disengage from the risky behavior necessary for organizational innovation. Moreover, organizations are not creatively creative when they have limited resources. Cummins and Odom noted that financial resources and enabling support structures certainly affect the capacity of employees to engage in creative processes. In health systems, competing priorities such as patient census, regulatory compliance, and budget adhesions leave few opportunities to be overly adventurous. For example, in large academic hospitals, physician innovators frequently complain that management likes to talk a lot about being innovative, yet provide little operational funding. Without tangible dedication and incentives and the provision of time to innovate, creativity remains a rhetoric without action. Additionally, inflexible thinking under the confines of a certain mental model stifles creativity. Singe in 2006 notes that organizations are frequently trapped in dominant paradigms, which blind them to alternative options. In healthcare, that could translate to the way we've always done it, even when evidence indicates the need for a change. Thus, unleashing imaginative growth from within is about breaking habits of thought by nurturing reflective, interdepartmental learning and ways of thinking that frame curiosity and adaptability as more important than fitting in. When we look at external environmental barriers to innovation, internal arrangements may determine the will to innovate. But The external circumstances tend to establish in which directions this willingness can be followed. Healthcare institutions work in regulated fields where compliance, ethics, and patient safety take precedence over so many decisions. These must have security features, also inadvertently limit creative freedom. It was also found that complex laws, lack of resources, and limited government support are the drastic external inhibitors to innovation, especially in smaller enterprises. In public institutions of health, with limited and government influence resource availability, innovations may be stifled by bureaucracy or politics. Then there is market and technological uncertainty. The international healthcare industry should expect to face an otherwise accepting public that challenges its values and traditional procedures in relation to novel communication technologies, cyber medicine, for example, and privacy matters. All these are key issues, both of data protection, form, and content. This degradation in institutional risk tolerance suggests that, as Featherstone, Morris, and Roth state, due to quick technological changes, organizations get risk averse. Investing in novel technologies might have too many uncertainty compared to other short-term ways of spending money. This defensive stance prohibits the uptake of disruptive innovations in a timely manner, especially in constrained settings. Finally, cognitive factors are influenced by sociocultural conditions that affect the environment for innovation. Conventional institutional norms in healthcare systems, not conducive to open innovation from the grassroots, prevail in much of the developing world and sub-Saharan Africa. Poor access to research funding, inadequate collaboration between academia and practice, and reliance on donor agencies also weaken innovation ecosystems. But these problems are not only faced by developing countries. In wealthy areas, market competition and insurance restrictions deter experimentation without immediate financial rewards. And so external gatekeepers expose the paradox of healthcare innovation. The field is built on discovery, but its operations are inherently conservative. Addressing these barriers will require leadership that is adept at operating in complex and shifting regulatory environments, strategic flexibility, and partnerships to extend the reach of innovation beyond institutional borders. Now let's look at leadership strategies and cultural transformation. Leadership is a key driver in turning innovative thought into action. Transformative leadership and psychological safety are widely known as critical antecedents of creativity in literature. Edmondson argues that when leaders create trust, openness, and tolerance for failure, it is establishing psychological safety to allow staff to take risks, sharing unconventional ideas without fear of ridicule or criticism. This safety is important in healthcare, where hierarchical authority could otherwise drown out creative ideas from employees lower down the ranks. Leadership must also embody strategic foresight through change management frameworks. The 5 components: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement of the work of ADKAR model can be a roadmap for leading change within an organization. ADKAR connects individual desires to drive change with an organization's innovation, concepts, and operations. For instance, by introducing digital health systems, leaders will have to create awareness of benefits, link this up with desire in an inclusive dialogue, and then strengthen new skills through lifelong learning. In the absence of systemic reinforcement, innovation can be gobbled up by old behaviors. In addition, practicing across disciplines contributes to the lessons and creative interplay of the organization. Diverse teams, properly supported, produce more original and applicable ideas. Enterprise healthcare entities that foster cooperation between physicians, executives, IT professionals, and regulators are better equipped to create patient-focused solutions. Relatedly, as Amabile and Pratt argue, intrinsic motivation must be connected to organizational purpose. That is, leaders need to convey how creative measures are directly linked to patient results and hospital mission. Finally, leadership evolution must go beyond words to organizational overhaul. networking, shared task forces, and open channels of exchange and recognition for innovation embed creativity in the daily work routine. When innovation is embedded in performance measures and strategic plans, creativity no longer stands in the periphery of an organization. It becomes a structural norm. In concluding, creating an environment for creativity and innovation in medical facilities is about a lot more than strategy. It's about changing the systems, A review of the literature indicates that innovation thrives when three conditions interdependently coexist. Internally, when organizations provide psychological safety, flexible structures, and adequate resources. Externally, when leaders navigate regulatory and market complexities with adaptability. And strategically, when leadership models such as ADCA operationalize innovation as a shared cultural value. In the end, healthcare transformation is not an event, but an ongoing organizational change status. At a world-class teaching hospital or in the countryside, creativity is at its best when curiosity is inspired and failure recast as learning, when leadership reflects shared aspiration for betterment. With health systems across the world having to navigate increasingly dynamic operational landscapes, from pandemics to digital expansion, their capacity to step up innovatively will be a function, in part, of the abilities of those systems to weave innovation into more routine care delivery infinitives. Then we look at the references. So,